The Substance, 2024, was written and directed by Coralie Fargeet, known for her previous work on Revenge. It features a star-studded cast including Demi Moore as Elizabeth Sparkle, Margaret Qualley as Sue, and Dennis Quaid as Harvey. The film, which blends psychological horror with sci-fi, centers around Sue, a young woman drawn into a nightmarish transformation after encountering a mysterious substance. The movie kicks off in this eerie, high-tech lab, deep underground. Dr. Jonathan Weissman is a genius, but in that unsettling, almost mad scientist way. He's been working on this secret government project, a glowing, gelatinous substance that seems like something straight out of a nightmare. The lab is sterile and cold, with screens and machines everywhere monitoring the substance. It's pulsing and glowing faintly, almost like it's alive. Dr. Weissman, looking exhausted but obsessed, injects a tiny bit of the substance into a lab rat. Then the chaos begins. The rat starts twitching violently, convulsing uncontrollably as its body morphs in unnatural ways. Its eyes go white, and the camera zooms in, giving you this detailed look at how its skin stretches and tears. The experiment goes wrong, and Weissman has this moment of realization. You can see it in his eyes. He's crossed a line, and there's no turning back. Sarah and Matthew's getaway, a hint of tension. Now, we meet Sarah and Matthew, a couple looking to escape the stress of their everyday lives. Sarah is a photographer, and she's been working hard, chasing her passion, while Matthew, a journalist, has been consumed by his work on a huge corruption story. They're heading to this remote cabin in the woods for a little break, but the movie hints that there's tension between them. The cabin is supposed to be their reset, but right from the start, you can feel the isolation creeping in. When they arrive, the place looks perfect, a little too perfect. The woods around them are dead quiet, and the cabin is almost unnervingly clean. It's unsettling, like something's watching them. The arrival of the package. Later that evening, they're unpacking when this package mysteriously shows up on their doorstep. There's no delivery truck, no knock, just a box sitting there. Matthew opens it, and inside is this vial of glowing liquid, the same substance from Weissman's lab. Neither of them has any idea what it is or why it's there. Matthew, being a journalist and naturally curious, thinks it's connected to some kind of research project or maybe even a whistleblower trying to leak evidence to him. Sarah, on the other hand, immediately feels uneasy about it. She suggests they get rid of it, but Matthew insists on holding on to it. It's like he's already hooked by its mystery. The first contact, Sarah's accident. That night, Sarah is in the bathroom, washing up, when she accidentally spills a small drop of the substance onto her hand. At first, it seems like no big deal. But as she stares into the mirror, something's not right. Her reflection begins to shift, distort, like her face is melting and reforming in strange ways. It's subtle at first, almost like a hallucination, but the scene builds in intensity. Her skin starts crawling with light under the surface, the substance moving like veins across her hand and up her arm. She freaks out but tries to hide it from Matthew. The first signs, Sarah's transformation begins. The next morning, Sarah is quieter, more distant. She brushes off her strange experience from the night before, chalking it up to exhaustion. But as the day goes on, her symptoms worsen. She's overly sensitive to light and sound, and her skin becomes slightly translucent. This part is so creepy, you can actually see the substance spreading through her veins under her skin, glowing faintly. She starts hearing these whispers in her mind, voices telling her to embrace the changes. Matthew, meanwhile, is deep into his investigation. He's been scouring the internet and finds disturbing reports. People have been disappearing, and there's talk about a top-secret experiment tied to a government program. The substance is connected to these disappearances, and it's tied to a series of unsolved murders. Matthew becomes more paranoid, realizing they might be in serious danger, but he doesn't know how bad it's going to get. Sarah's mental decline. As Sarah's transformation progresses, her behavior becomes more erratic. There's this disturbing dinner scene where she just snaps. Out of nowhere, she throws a glass across the room, shattering it against the wall. Her eyes are wild, like she's no longer in control of her actions. The tension between her and Matthew escalates, and you can feel the growing distance between them. Matthew wants to help her, but she won't let him in. She's already lost in the whispers of the substance. Her body is undergoing a horrifying transformation. Her limbs begin to stretch and twist in ways that are painful to watch. Her bones crack, her skin stretches, and she starts to look less human with every passing hour. The special effects here are absolutely gruesome, and it leaves you wondering how much worse it can get. Weissman's arrival, the awful truth. Just when you think it can't get any worse, Dr. Weissman shows up. He's tracked the substance to the cabin and arrives, not to help, but because he knows the danger they're in. He explains that the substance was never meant for human contact, it's a sentient organism, created to evolve its host into something far beyond human. Sarah's transformation is already too advanced, she's no longer entirely Sarah. Weissman drops the bombshell that there's no antidote. Once the substance takes hold, there's no way back. Here's where the stakes skyrocket. Weissman wants to kill Sarah, believing it's the only way to stop the substance from spreading further. Matthew, of course, can't let him do that. He's desperate to save her, even though she's becoming something unrecognizable. This leads to a tense standoff between Matthew, Weissman, and Sarah. The horrific transformation, Sarah is gone. As Weissman and Matthew argue, Sarah's transformation reaches its horrifying peak. She collapses on the floor, writhing in pain as the substance fully takes over her body. Her limbs stretch into grotesque forms, her face warps, and her skin starts glowing more intensely. She's no longer human, she's this twisted, alien creature, driven by the will of the substance. The scene is a full-blown nightmare, with Sarah's voice deepening, becoming distorted as she pleads with Matthew to let it happen. But she's not pleading for him to save her, she's asking him to embrace the substance, too. Matthew is horrified but still tries to protect her. Weissman, however, knows there's no saving her. In a last-ditch effort, Weissman goes after Sarah with a weapon, but she's too powerful. In an instant, she kills him, leaving Matthew alone with the creature that was once Sarah. The chilling finale. The movie ends on an ambiguous note. After the chaos, dawn breaks, and Matthew stumbles out of the cabin, bloodied and in shock. Sarah, or what's left of her, has disappeared into the woods. Matthew stands there, staring into the distance, when the final twist hits. His eyes start to glow faintly, the same glow we saw in Sarah. He's been infected, too. As he walks into the woods, you're left wondering, is he going to transform like Sarah? Is he already lost to the substance? The film leaves you hanging, uncertain of what's next but sure that the nightmare isn't over.